No, yeah, thank you very much, Pawan, for joining and setting the president there. So there is one change in terms of how we want to present it. Is the topic what I said? Essentials to impress. Pawan said it's more essentials to win. Right? Win is a more apt and very focused word than to say impress. Impress can be very generic. So our session today is, though I couldn't change the poster was already prepared. So it still remains essentials to impress, but understand that it is essentials to win, right? And actually, more than the Western boss, I've kept the Western boss because I had made this presentation prior to a crowd, where there were more reporting to somebody in America or in Europe. But it's actually to a boss, and most of our work style has also changed to has changed primarily to Western ways of doing things. That is being organized, calendar, time box culture, all that. So having said that, let's get started. So like always, I read this brief paragraph that I've written about the seminar. So I'm just repeating it here. The West has a way of functioning very different from the East. We as Indians have been brought up in a culture that is very different from the West. If one does not know how to work with people from the West, there is a possibility of misunderstanding and conflicts. The seminar aims to explain the expectations of Western work environment in a Western work environment, and how one should prepare oneself to be as successful there. Sorry about the typo there. Yeah, to be successful there, right? So understand that this seminar is very useful for every one of you, because we all want to succeed, and we need guidance from a leader, and that leader is going to be your project manager, your project lead, or your president, vice president, whoever is your leader. And it's very important that you align with that leader, and which is what it means to win over a boss, right? To make sure that his goals are your goals. So one quote by Bansky, like, is a lot of people don't use their initiative because no one told them to, right? So sometimes we have to tell people now that take initiative, because that is one of the most important things in order to win over a boss, right? Here I've changed the title to win over a boss. Um, yeah. So thank you for everyone to join, and to set an expectation. What we are going to discuss today is briefly mentioned here. One second. Yeah, let me pin myself. Yes. Yeah. Okay. So why should I impress anyone, or why should I win over anyone? Right. Let me put it like that. That basic question. Some people may not like it. I mean, like, come on, why should I do this to anybody? I'll just do my work and go. So we're going to discuss on that. Right. It's a very practical topic, as I said. And the next one is, how can I win? Right. How can I impress somebody? And learn to bite your tongue sometimes, right? That is also something that we have to tell people now. You can't be saying that you are the best all the time. Sometimes, even when you are not wrong, you're supposed to say, okay, I'm fine with it, right? So we'll discuss certain instances with your seniors where you should bite your tongue, right? So types of bosses and your response. I know there are many number of bosses in our organization. There are many project managers, there are many program managers, there are many delivery managers, there are many vice presidents, right? So you need to know how to work with whom, right? It's not a question of who is good or who is bad. Everybody has a style. So we'll discuss briefly of how to work with different kinds of bosses, and what Western entrepreneur bosses expects from you, right? Generally, Western people, what they expect from you. And I would say, not only West, even in India now, because we're in a multinational environment, how what they expect from you, right? So this is what, and next step and questions and answers, we'll do that. So let's make an impression, right? Let's win over, rather. Let's win over. So does anybody have any other expectations or any thoughts? Because this is what we're going to cover today. Okay, so before even I get into the details, I would want to ask, how many of you are eager to know how to win over a boss? At least one or two of you. No? If nobody feels, then it's a not applicable topic. Okay, at least, yeah. See, in India, they say putting butter to a boss, right? Maska mar raha hai. Hear that, right? So this is not Maska Maro session, that we are all already talented. I'm sure we are. So this is not Maska Maro session. We are naturally talented to put that butter. But this is not about buttering a boss. This is about something different, something more than that. Okay. So let's get in and see. And everybody can add your points and thoughts. So why should I impress anyone? Just do your work, right? I mean, I'm coming, I'm getting paid, my boss is getting paid, we both are getting salary. He gets SMS, I get SMS, ting, I get SMS, right? When you get a salary. So why should I even impress anybody? Why should I even try to win over somebody? We should have a motive, right? We should have a motive behind that. So I put some thoughts here, right? Hopeless employee is asking, or arrogant boss with no empathy is saying what? Go out my way to impress that guy who dumps his work on me, leaves early, steals credit for what I do, and makes sure that I never get promoted. Now, these are the words of a what do you call that? An employee, right? You might say, impress that jerk. Why? You have to be kidding me. I would just do my work and leave. Why do I even care what my boss thinks about me? Why do I need to put special efforts to align with my boss? I'm sure some of you also have these questions, right? I mean, I put it very bluntly there, right? So who feels this way? I mean, obviously you'll not tell in the seminar, but I'm sure some of you feel this way. And which is the reason I have made this seminar. As I said in the beginning, these seminars are not something that you'll find in the market. These are pains that a manager goes through, which have been converted into, subjects of seminars. So you all understand that you also will become a manager one day. And it's very essential to make sure you have a team which is eager to win over you, and you are also eager to help the team, right? It's a vice versa. It's always a two-way relationship, a boss as well as a subordinate, right? So this question, I'm sure everybody will have, that why should I try to impress anybody? Well, are we the only people who are trying to impress? Come on, let's think about it. A daughter is trying to impress a mummy for extra dresses, right? And a son is trying to impress his father for pocket money, isn't it? So there's nothing wrong with it to see there. A lover is trying to impress the beloved to retain and remain, right? He gets a rose. A student is trying to impress his teacher to get some extra lessons. A spouse is trying to impress a partner to find a happy life, isn't it? And a politician is trying to impress the voter to implement his agenda, make money. A devotee is trying to impress God to connect and stay in bliss, isn't it? And a God is trying to impress the devotee by exchanging realizations, right? And a ghost is trying to impress a body to possess it, right? Come on, give me a break. Everybody is trying to impress somebody, isn't it? When we go outside in the world, everybody is trying to impress somebody. So don't think that you are trying to be, cornered to tell that you have to impress your boss or you have to win over your boss, or we all are doing it knowingly or unknowingly, isn't it? In all our relationships, we try to impress our parents, we try to impress our sometimes our neighbors also, so that there is a cooperative environment, right? We all have to cooperate and we have to cooperate. The word cooperate itself means cooperate. So we want to operate, but together, right? Together we want to operate. So impressing somebody or winning over somebody is not a negative thing. In fact, to be really frank, it is something that is expected from you when you are hired in a company, that you will know how to work with your superiors or you will know how to win them over, isn't it? Something that's very, very essential. Nothing to see as something forced upon you, right? So all of these things together, whether you are an introvert or extrovert, I don't speak to people. You know what? I don't have time to speak to my boss. I'm very introvert. No, whether you're introvert or extrovert, whether you're competent or incompetent. I'm very good at doing what I'm doing. Why should I impress my boss? Or I'm very bad at doing what I'm doing. Why should I impress my boss? Either ways, right? Whether you're introvert, whether you're extrovert, whether you're competent, whether you're not incompetent, whether you're conservative or liberal, I like to hold on to everything, or I want everybody to do everything. I want to decentralize. Either ways, you still have to work with a boss. Whether you're old or young, or whether you're living or dead. Right? I mean, you still have to impress somebody. That is kind of essential. Sorry about that. Yeah. So, 1 second, I'm just leaving a message there. So, okay. So, in either of these cases, right, you have to do what you have to do. So, need for loving and being loved is natural, right? Now, come on. I'm going a little on the psychological aspect of everybody. Who doesn't like to be loved? Tell me. We all like to be loved, right? Everywhere, in our home, in our relationships, we want to be loved. There are only two things actually we want in life. If you really introspect, there are only two things: to love somebody and to be loved by somebody. Only two things. Everything else revolves around it. You go do a job, you get a salary, you get a big pay package. Ultimately, for what? Ultimately, for what? To show your love towards somebody and to be loved by somebody. right? These are the two essential things that a soul expects. We are all souls, so that's a spiritual aspect. But I'm saying we are all conscious that we're alive, and we want to love somebody. Is it possible to lead a life without loving anybody? Is it possible? Come on, give me a break. At least you'll love your dog if you're not anybody, right? I mean, somebody will have to love, and somebody you have to share that love with, right? Who wants to be the most beautiful person in the planet? I think I want to be. But what if I'm the only what if I'm the only person on that planet? Right? I'm the most beautiful person, but I'm the only person on the planet. Does it make a difference? It has no meaning to it, right? So in the same way, my dear friends and colleagues, when you are coming to workplace, you are giving 1/3 of your life at least. And knowing the work pressures now, 50% of your life you're giving in the office. Why do you want to live here like robots, not having any relationship with anybody? And when I say relationship, it is about relationship to help others and to make the organization successful, right? Help others, be active around, be helpful to others, all these things. And these all things build up a relationship. Just imagine, I don't like my job, I don't like my surroundings, my environment. That means 50% of my life I'm compromising, isn't it? Indirectly 50% of my life I'm compromising. Why do we need to lead a life which is compromising? Rather lead a life which is very blissful. How about you have a boss and you both together are, very good team, right? And you together are achieving some very good results. Let me take an example of cricket. When Sachin Tendulkar was playing, and Virendra Sehwag, who was new, right? Almost Sachin was like a boss for him. He would go and ask Sachin, "Do you think I should hit the runs now, or should I wait for it?" Right? And both together were like blasters, right? I mean, like the opposition was totally devastated as long as both of them are there in the crease, right? Sachin Tendulkar and Virendra Sehwag. Virendra Sehwag is a master blaster, and Sachin Tendulkar has always been one of the greatest settle players, right? So there is a boss, there is somebody who works with him, right? Works with him, and together they did magic. Together they did the biggest opening partnerships, and so don't think that it has if you're impressing somebody, you're trying to win over somebody, it's a compromise. No, it's our nature to be loved and to be loved, and it's better to have that in the workplace also. Better to have that relationship in the workplace also. You understanding what I'm saying? It doesn't have to be so formal that I can't share my problems with anybody. I can't share. I don't want to share my boss's problem. I don't want to understand anything beyond work. I'm just working. Work is work. I switch off and switch on, right? When I come to work, I switch on, and when I go to a home, I switch off. No, it's not the way it is, right? We're all human beings, right? We have to help each other. So as I said, one of the qualities is we have a nature to love and to be loved, right? Another thing is, life depends on how much you impress and are impressed by others you care. It depends. Your happiness is how much you impress. If, for example, if you have a boss who is completely upset with you, how long can you last in that organization? You think you really, even if you're getting 3 times the salary you're getting, I can tell you one thing. Even if you're getting 3 times the salary what you're currently getting, if you're getting 10 lakhs, you get 30 lakhs. But if your boss is not happy, and you're not in an environment where you feel any confidence about yourself working for somebody, you will not be happy. You'll not be happy. You can't deliver. Just a matter of time, you'll leave, right? So it's very essential that we understand that to win over your boss is not a option. Actually, it's a necessity, right? It's a necessity. You have to know that your boss has to be happy. If your boss is not happy, and you're and you can't really make progress in your career. Don't think that oh, he's my boss, tomorrow he'll not be my boss, I'll go to some other boss. That very attitude will kill your career. That attitude that he'll not be my boss, I don't know him, I don't think he'll be my boss. Come on, this is a small world. In the world of talent, the small world, your same boss can again become your boss sometime later, right? So um, you have to know how to be good, and the attitude to carry is, how do I help my boss achieve his goals so that I also achieve my goal in return, right? So if your boss doesn't achieve your goals, do you think you can achieve your goals? Are your goals and your boss's goals different? Are your goals and your boss's goals and organizational goals different? No. if they have to be same, right? Like for example, our company Lorhan is a growing company, and we are here to impress our customers, get repeated business, and go to new customers and get new business, and endeavor into different technological, frameworks and solutions. And this is our, you see that logo, right, going up, right? So if that is the mood of the company, then your boss's mood also will be that. But if you don't sink into that mood, then you're in trouble, because you're not going to have a peaceful life, right? So does everybody understand why we should impress anyone, or is, or still, or your comments, right? I mean, let's comment on it. Are you okay to accept that impressing your boss or winning your boss is essential? And just speak out. If you don't, that's fine. We can discuss about it. Don't take anything negative. Nobody's going to say that, oh, he's not somebody who's going to wants to align with his boss.
If anyone has any experience or difference of opinion, they can share.
Yeah, I mean, see, it can be, you might say that, hey, I think I'm doing my best. I don't want to know whether my boss likes it or not. I'm doing my best. Somebody might say like that,
But
isn't
some
it?
people feel that my work will speak. So
My
why should
work will
I?
speak. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, ultimately, work will speak. There's no doubt about it. Work will speak. It's not like you're winning your boss, but you're not doing your work. There's something wrong there. Right? It's not possible that you're winning over your boss and you're not working.
Right, right.
Right? Yeah. See, if your boss is not coming to office, if your boss is not available, if your boss is completely, doing his own, he's in his own world, that means he likes you. As simple as that. That means he likes you. No wonder he's able to do all those things. That means you are the best person that he has. Right? That is the way to look at it. Right? I mean, if your boss has more things to do, if he's available to do many more things, that means you are doing much more than when you're doing. I think somebody has to. Yeah. Okay. All kinds of sounds are coming. Yeah. Okay. So let's go on to the next slide. I hope that you all understood that, working, see, ultimately, to put the whole thing that I told in one line, you have to have a very productive relationship with your boss wherever you go, right? Productive relationship and a good relationship where you can exchange your ideas, where you can understand his ideas, and you can also deliver according to that, right? Whichever technology you're working with, SAP, Oracle, finance, HR, admin, right? Any of the workplace that you are in, you have to align with your superiors. That's the point, right? So that your life will be peaceful. So let's go to the next slide of why impress boss, right? Why should I even impress boss? We discussed about it. Um, it is actually in two ways, right? It's a service to your own self and a service to others. When you impress your boss, how do you benefit out of it? Right? That is what I'm trying to put here. Let me go one by one. You can be peaceful 80% of the day, isn't it? Hmm? When you impress your boss, you're peaceful. Oh my God, okay, he is happy, I'm done. Right? I'm doing my part, right? 80% of your day, or rather even 100%, right? You can be very happy if you, so it's actually not your advantage. Your advantage that if your boss is happy, you're happy. Next, you are energetic to pursue your dreams, right? I mean, there is no negativity in your thought process. Your boss is aligned with you, and he knows that you're doing a good job, and so you become, your energy levels increase, right? I mean, when your work is accepted, you want to do more work, right? But when your work is rejected, is not understood, you don't want to do work, right? It's human psychology that you want to be accepted, right? So energy levels also grow when you align with your boss, right? You feel connected and worthy to work hard. Again, I said again, you get connected with a wider aspect, like your boss is aligned with his boss is aligned with his boss, so his boss aligned with the whole organization. So there is a chain of connectivity everywhere, and you find yourself in a common crowd, right? And you start working hard. See, I'll tell you, Japanese after the Second World War became very, very workaholics, because they all had one goal: to make their country a superpower again. One goal the country had, and the goal was perpetuated, all the way down to every citizen, that everybody felt that I should study and I should do the best work and establish the best products, so with highest quality, so that the country will grow. And they did it, right? The goal was one. Japan being such a small country, I mean, if you really look at it, Japan might be a little wider than Andaman Nicobar, if you really look at it, right? Thin set of islands on the the corner of China. That's all is Japan. But how much is it known in the world today, right? And that's because they all made sure that they impressed their leader. They impressed each other. They impressed the whole world by delivering so, right? Yeah, next one. You get inner satisfaction when a contribution matters to someone, right? I mean, when you're working so hard and your boss is not even feeling it, your boss is rejecting it, right? How do you work? How do you work? You can't contribute anything. But when your contribution is really helping him to scale up, right? That means you're doing the right thing. That means you'll also be happy. So that's one other reason, right? You get confidence to perform more and scale up. Confidence is a very subtle thing, my friends. You know, the person who is confident, the whole world will run behind him. But problem today is people lack that confidence, right? Why they lack that confidence? Because they never have a relationship with anybody who comes forward and gives them the confidence. Confidence is something that we get when we see the response to what we do, right? You do something and you see a response to it, so that confidence comes. So when your boss is not responding to what you're doing, then there's no confidence. You can't grow, right? You have to see that. So that is one of the reason. It's a service to self that actually you will grow, right? Now let's talk about service to others. Others includes the boss, right? Or boss and your colleagues and the organization. All three of them are there in the others. So who's there in the others? Your boss, your colleagues, and the environment around you, right? So boss feels he's getting worth for his time and money. So, you know, tomorrow when you go for appraisal, your boss will think, you know, should I give him rise or should I not give him rise? Then he'll think, hey, if I don't give him a rise, if I lose this person, then I will have to work more, because this person is working so nice that I have my extra time to do something more for the organization. I can take up more responsibilities, right? So a boss should feel worthy of your time. So when you impress your boss, it's a service, you know, to others. And another organization benefits with your teamwork with boss. See, if the employees are not aligned with their bosses, you think company will succeed? Any company will succeed? No, it's not possible. You have to align with your boss. In fact, one of the goals of the organization is to create teams where they're all aligned from top to bottom. If they're all aligned, then your management layer can become thinner and thinner, right? And more people can actually focus on delivery and get more business, do more business, isn't it? So organization benefits. When you impress your boss, don't think that it's only centered around you. It actually helps the company also. Positive vibes on the floor, encouraging others to align. See, when people see that, hey, this project manager has such a great relationship with his entire team, and they together are delivering so nicely, they are happy, cooperative, helping each other, you know, responsive, all these positive qualities, when they are on the floor, automatically other teams also get impressed by that. I remember in my own career, you know, once I was working in IT line in ERP projects, and there was one project team which was going from one project to another project with the same team, right? So they were implementing Oracle Financials in airline industry. So they went and did implementation, like there were like 7 or 8 members in the team, and they went and did an implementation in Emirates Airlines, and they came back to Hyderabad. And I was looking at the team. Wow, what a team! You know, they are doing this implementation, and then all 7 of them went for Virgin Atlantic implementation. All 7 of them, and then they came back to Hyderabad, and then all 7 of them went to another airlines implementation. Then I was like, you know what? I want to be part of that 7. You know, because there's something good about them. You know, something nice about them, that they are so gelling nicely, they are so working nicely. You know, why can't I be part of it? How many of you would feel like that? Come on, let's open up a little. Don't you want to be part of a team where everybody is cooperating and happy and doing many implementations and projects? Hmm?
Yes, definitely.
Or let me ask the question, how many of you think you're currently part of such a team? Come on, you can say some words to encourage your own team.
Yes, yes, Lakshman, we are.
Yeah, we are.
Yeah, that's a
Yes,
great news, you know.
yes,
So that's
yeah.
a great positive vibe. That means you as a team are properly aligned, you don't see any work as hard work. You see it as smart work. You see it as joy and fun for what you're doing, and you're going implementation to implementation, right? I mean, you see a lot of implementations our team does. Prasanna, is one manager who gets into so many implementations. Srinivasan, he gets into so many implementations. He has a team, right? So you go from one customer to the customer. You want to be part of that team, winning team which is going and doing things and achieving things, isn't it? Okay,
Yes.
now let me ask a question. How many of you want to be in a team where all the subordinates are talking ill about their boss?
No one will ready, obviously.
He's a useless fellow. He doesn't know what to tell. And it's so sick to work under him. He always gives work 8 o'clock in the evening. He never comes up, he never shows up. He's that. Would you want to be part of such a team?
No.
No.
Nobody wants to
No.
be, right? I mean, come on, it's obvious. Nobody wants to. That's exactly what I'm saying. That when you align with your boss, you spread a positive vibe in the whole floor, right? Encouraging all others to align, right? Next, opens possibility for everyone to grow and making way for you to grow, right? So don't think that you are only growing when you have a good relationship with your boss. You actually open a way for many others to grow like you, right? So everybody wants to come into your team. Everybody wants to grow along with it, right? No wastage of resources and energy due to disconnects, right? This is a very important thing. See, when you are not aligned with your boss, who do you think suffers? Your customer suffers. That fellow who is giving millions of dollars or crores of rupees for your project, he suffers, isn't it? Because you both are not working with each other. The whole project goes down the drain because the subordinate and the boss are not aligned. And eventually the customer suffers, his customers suffer, company suffers, everybody suffers. So when you align with your boss, take it a point. I mean, tomorrow morning onwards, I will try to work with my boss. I'll try to first understand what he wants. I'll try to first understand what makes him happy, right? And I'll try to understand what is my organization's goal. And then you align with it automatically, you will help the organization also grow, right? So any comments on what we just discussed on service to self by actually aligning with your boss, service to self and service to others? Do you all agree with this, or any things you want to add that I missed here? Service to others and service to self.
Yeah, we agree with you, Lakshman. Basically, as a service to self, it's not only about appraisal and all. If we impress our boss, it will be add-on if we learn new technologies also, like
Yeah.
trusting on ourselves, she or he can do. So it will be added advantage to knowledge.
Thank you, Sujana. Thank you for that. Anybody else? Now, do you feel it's applicable seminar? Something that we're discussing, something positive on the floor?
Yes.
Yes, obviously.
Yeah. Yeah. We need to speak some positivity sometimes, Sometimes you have to speak. Every Friday afternoon is about speaking something positive, something different from what we are doing routine, isn't it?
Yeah.
So
Because
any
when
other
we are able to express, only the people can understand more.
exactly. Tell me, if a student is failing, whose problem is it? Student's problem or teacher's problem?
Both.
Both.
Actually, it is teacher's problem, because poor student, he came to a teacher to learn, right? He came to a teacher to learn. Now, teacher has to create an environment where the student is motivated to learn, right? Motivated to learn, like a parent and a child. If a child is spoiled, who's responsible for that? At least in our culture, in Indian culture, I'll say that parents are responsible for that. Right? We take that responsibility. Even I'll tell you, today morning, my mother shouted at me. I'm 44 years old. Come on, give me a break. I have two sons. One son is 16, one son is 14. And even today, my mother shouts at me because she felt that I didn't do something right. Right. And she's very concerned about some of my choices. So to make sure that we are good at what we do, we take responsibility. Right? We take responsibility, and we have to take responsibility. So a boss has to make sure that his subordinates are growing in their career. See, you know what? I would think if I'm the boss, if my organization is running without me lifting a phone, right? Without me lifting a phone for 1 week, nobody is calling me and my organization is running. Am I a good boss or a worst boss?
Yes.
There are two sides of the coin, right? If my organization is running without, you know, my actually Shiva and others are on the call right now, so I don't want to just say it as my organization, but I'm just saying that as a manager, as a head, if you're not getting any calls and all the work is going as expected, am I a good boss or a worst boss?
Good.
I have to be good. Otherwise, how is it possible? How is it possible, right? And that's exactly what you as subordinate should do to your boss. That it's running. Don't worry, it's running. Yes, you will go for help, you will go for guidance, but as a boss, I don't want to hold on to things. Because see, today, again, it's a little story specific to Lorhan, but we went through a little tough phase, in the initial times with the finance team settling down and whatever it happened. We went to a point, we implemented all the process, right? Now, how am I able to make this presentation and deliver it to you? It takes time, right? These presentations don't fall when it rains, isn't it? Somebody has to make the slide, somebody has to put the thought process, somebody has to do the research, putting all these points. They're not my points, they're points from different friends, my colleagues, my superiors. I discussed with them all this thing, what do you think should be presented? So there is a work. So how am I able to find the time? I'm able to find the time because there is a team which is functioning in a cruise control right now, right? I can take up more responsibilities. I can do more for the organization. Why do you think any of the leaders, do these seminars? Do they have spare time? No, because we know as leaders that at a leadership position, it's not about telling people what to do. It's about sharing the experiences, and motivating them with an example. How do you grow? You're following, right, what we're discussing? So that is why we impress a boss, is because service to yourself and service to others also. Is impressing a negative emotion? No, it's not a negative. Impress anyone for exploiting, manipulating, and taking advantage is bad, right? So that is called butterflying, right? We say that maska mar raha hai. Means he doesn't want to do his work, so he's impressing his boss so he can exist. That's bad. That's definitely bad. So you don't have to do that. But impressing anyone means to create a trustworthy relationship through which both the employer and employee can achieve their predetermined goals, and of course find some joy in working together, right? So that kind of a winning is good, where you're trying to help each other win your goals, right? So treat your boss like a customer. There are some very good words I found in the internet. Treat your boss like a customer. Know what keeps him sleepless. Do you all know what keeps your boss sleepless? Right? You need to know. So then if you work on it, your boss will be automatically impressed. He is a person who needs to be loved. Your boss also is a person. Try to understand that. You will also become a boss one day, right? Just a matter of time. With your experience, you will get into that position. Then you will understand that how much it is our job to make sure that our boss is also happy in what he's doing. And finally, manage boss if you don't want to be managed. Right? This is a very big statement. Manage your boss if you don't want to be managed. If you don't manage your boss, meaning if you don't cater to the needs of your boss, then what will happen? He'll sit on your head. He will sit on your head. It's your choice, isn't it? If your behavior is good, if you're able to scale up to your boss's expectation, he will not even come to and bother you. He'll not even come towards you. But a person who is trying to be escapist, who is not worrying about his boss's needs, how will his life be? His life will be miserable. Every time he looks at his boss, he wants to hide somewhere, because you know what? He'll come and find me that I'm doing nothing. Isn't it? Am I speaking anything wrong? Anything inapplicable?
No, it's true.
Yeah.
No, true.
Yeah, you get so much courage to face your boss and everybody when you're doing your job. When you're not doing your job, then you will obviously be in tension all the time. Right now, guys, I'll tell you a story. You all like examples, right? I mean, I'll tell you one example of one person. His name is Pagu. He is from Chennai. Actually, his full name is very difficult for me to pronounce. And sometimes Chennai names they have a lot of Sanskrit in them, like Paguvadarai. His name is Paguvadarai Tiruvam, something like that. Paguvadarai Tiruvam. I don't know what it means. Is anybody from Tamil Nadu background here who can tell me what is the meaning of Pagu? Yeah, nobody knows. Anybody from Tamil Nadu here? I think we have to, Swati, we have to recruit some people, from diverse.
Tamil Nadu as well, yeah. Or at least somebody who knows Tamil. Or else we have to depend on Google.
So I used to call this Pagu all the time, Pagu, Pagu, Pagu. I remember. So I worked with him from 2007 to 2011. To 2007 to 2011. 4 years I worked with Pagu. So Pagu used to report to me, and I was in Boston and he was in Chennai. And Pagu was one of the, I'll tell you, one of the testers. Like we used to run a big testing organization. So he was like a functional tester, right? So the functional tester. Okay, good. So I'll tell you something amazing thing that he did. And within the 3-4 years, he scaled up from a tester to a lead, then to a manager, and from manager actually he came out of the delivery organization and he set up his own practice for the company. In 4 years he did that, and I'm so amazed. I was so amazed. I used to always say, Pagu, you're the best. You're the best. You know what he did? I'll tell you what he did. So we had this customer, right? And the customer was State Street. It is a big bank. It's a big, corporate banker, you can say. So we know American, what do you call the Bank of America, Chase, and all these banks, right? But State Street, nobody knows, because State Street is a banker for the corporates, where it invests the funds of companies in different companies, right? So for example, Reliance is making a lot of company, Tatas are making a lot of money, by their company. So the State Street, what it does, it takes the money of Reliance and puts it in Tata, right? Something at the very high level, very big banker, right? Investment banker. Now, so we were doing this big, shared services organization, and Pagu was one of the testers there. And so there was a lot of, we used to shared service. You all know what is shared service organization? If you don't know, you can lift your hand. I can tell you what it is. Okay, shared service organization means like every person, like for example, let me take finance team is a good example of shared service organization, right? For you to understand. So there are 10 projects that Lauren is doing right now, 10 different customers, 10 projects. Does everybody need a finance guy? Every team needs a finance person? No. So finance is a separate organization which caters to all the employees in all the projects, right? That's called shared services. Shared services, right? So in the same way, what we created there is like a shared service organization where a pool of testers are a shared organization, and whichever project needs testing, they'll come to that place. We'll allocate them the testers. They will do the testing and come back. So testing organization is not part of a project team, but indirectly it's part of a project team. They come and go there. And what is the advantage of having shared service organization? We have expertise in what we do. Right? We are experts. If somebody comes, we'll take the requirement, create the test scripts, create the, everything, and then we have a medium, we'll present it, we have automation, we'll do everything. So I don't need to have so many people in a project. I can keep my project organization very thin. And whenever they come, what I can do, what a project team can do for testing in 6 weeks, as a shared services, we can do in 3 weeks. Because we already have a lot of reusable things and we are experts in that, right? We are experts in what we do. So that's called shared service organization. Did you all understand what I'm saying? Okay, great. So shared service organization was something that we had implemented there, very nicely implemented, but there was a problem. What was the problem? My customer's boss's boss, executive vice president, felt that there are a lot of people in this organization. He said that we have to thin it down. We were like around 80 testers in one big team, shared service organization, right? He felt that why do you need 80 people? You can do the whole thing with 60 people. Remove 20 people, like that he told. Now it's very difficult to explain, it's very difficult to explain why you need 80 people to do that work, because we are not working on one project, we are working on 10 projects, right? It's very difficult to explain sometimes, uh, but we can explain, but we were finding it difficult to explain. So then at that time, being one of the testers himself, Pagu, what he did, he called me and he said, Lakshman, I think I have the data of who is working in which project and for how much time. I can pull that up. I can pull that up and I can send it to you, like a timesheet data plus something more than timesheets, right? Some places where each person goes and helps other person, even that data I'll try to capture and then send it. So that is how it started, where Pagu took an initiative. He was one among the team. Why would he go and do all these things? It is manager's responsibility, right? Manager's responsibility. Let manager deal with the customer. Why should I do anything? But Pagu was not like that. He said, I am going to do something different. So what he did, he took up a lot of data on the floor in offshore in Chennai, and he brought all the data and he put some metrics around it. He made some charts around it. And then he said, okay, our team has these many testers with these many skills, and one person has worked on these many projects in 1 month, and we have executed these many test scripts, right? We have executed like 12,000 test scripts in the last. So per person, these many test scripts were executed. Normally in a project, you would only execute 6 test scripts, right? Whereas in our team, each person executed 12 scripts. So the efficiency is more, right? So we started juggling with the data, and then we prepared a presentation, which we called as Metrics Management Office presentation. We created a new organization under the whole organization called MMO, Metrics Management Office. Like that we said, okay, it's just Excel data, we are playing with it. And then the customer came back and told that, oh, I think a lot of talent is sitting in India. People who are here are quite new. We don't know what to do. And then what happened? And then we came up with some more data, that how many people are actually traveling to US and coming back, right? How much rotation is happening? Like the people in onsite are always onsite. They never come to offshore. And the people in offshore are always offshore. They never go to onsite, right? So then we created a data and we showed that every 6 months, actually people are, I'll just mute somebody who's unmuted. Yeah. So actually people are moving from onsite. So we created a matrix called resource rotation matrix, right? Where the customer feels confident that, hey, I have a wonderful team whereby there are replacements in case there is attrition, right? Somebody in the onsite goes, there are 3 people in offshore who have worked onsite already. So any one of them can come again, right? You know what I'm saying? So if somebody in the onsite suddenly leaves the organization, suddenly it's not like somebody from offshore has to go and learn everything, because you have done so much rotation. We have people in offshore also, onsite also. Anyways, so we started creating this metrics, right? Some data each monthly basis we wanted to publish. We've started publishing test script data, test defect data, and defect analysis data, root cause analysis data, and then shared services efficiency data, and so much metrics. So slowly what I realized is Pagu is doing his work, but at the same time, Pagu is also creating some very good information for the management. So then at one point, what we felt, hey, this is very important information. He started making a report, like a beautiful, colorful report. Pagu started making. And then what I did, I said, you know what, Pagu, you are not going to do any more testing, right? You're not a tester anymore. You are a lead for generating metrics. No, which was not there in any of the organizations, but we created it. And the customer, when we presented that metrics to our customer, the customer became so happy. Can anyone tell a good reason why the customer became happy?
Because efficiency is increased.
Yes, efficiency is increased and can be calculated and seen. Yes. I'll tell you when very humanly reason, I'm telling you, his job became secured. Isn't it? What will he do with that report? He'll go and show it to his boss. His boss will go and show it to his boss. And finally, the report went to the executive vice president. And the executive vice president of State Street is a big guy. He sees this colorful report and he says, oh, testing team, they're doing this. Very nice. I want this kind of report from all organizations. He said, what about my development organization? What about my business organization? Nobody gives any report to me. Nonsense. See this testing organization, what beautiful report they've given. They're telling me how much they're executing and what they're doing. So what we did, we created trouble for everybody. By making that report, suddenly we became so famous that it became trouble for everybody. And then what happened? A business opportunity came our way. What is a business opportunity? The executive vice president called me and few others, and he said, Lakshman, whatever you implemented in this organization, I want the same to be implemented in another organization, and I'll pay you for that. I'll pay you for that. Do a metrics organization for all my organizations, right? Now we needed a leader, right? We need a leader to drive this because I don't have time for it. So who becomes the leader here, guys? Pagu, simple, isn't it? He impressed his boss and he created a positive vibe everywhere. So Pagu became from a tester to a manager, and not only a manager, a separate business line, And as soon as State Street as a customer established that business line, what happened at a company level? What happens at a company level? Our organization head started thinking, hey, this is a new business. We were only thinking about development and testing. These fellows are creating a new business line called metrics management. Why don't we do that to other customers? Right? Why don't we do that to other? Why only State Street? We can do it to other customers. So we presented the case study of what we did in State Street to other customers. Now, what happens to Pagu? Is he limited to one customer now? Suddenly, he became an even higher person in the organization who is now creating teams of creating this metrics across the customers. Now, my dear friends, is it a good story to hear about Pagu?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. I hope I'll share his photo someday. I'm sure if he hears this seminar, I'm going to share this link. He'll be very happy. Even today, I have a good relationship with him, and we don't speak that often, but we remember those days, right? So how did this whole thing start? Whatever Pagu did, and now he's very successful. He's very much in demand. Companies like IBM, Deloitte, or PwCs, they want that Pagu. They want that Pagu because he did what many people can't do, is to create reports which can show efficiency, right? But where did this all start? Where did it all start? If you go back 10 minutes in what I'm discussing, Pagu understood my pain points. That's where it started, right? I'm not his boss. I'm his boss's boss's boss. So Pagu is to report to lead reports to offshore delivery head, offshore delivery is to report to me, right? But he understood that there is a pain. What is a pain? If we don't supply right data, then we might lose jobs or we might have to take out people. He understood that. And he just went out of his work. He also was doing 8 hours work, but he took out that extra 2 hours. He created data and he presented that to me through all his managers. Of course, he presented to his manager to his manager. Then finally it came to me. And finally we looked at it and I said, this is very good. Then we employed Pagu more time for that. And finally, look at the way it started and look at the way it went. So my dear friends and colleagues, when you work with your boss, when you try to do something extra, when you try to do something that is actually going to help your boss, right? See, everybody has to give a report card, right? How do I give my report card unless you give my report card, right? You give your report card to me and all your report card together becomes my report card to my boss, isn't it? So when you try to align with your boss and you give your report card, it helps your boss also to grow. Suddenly your boss also grows. And when your boss grows, you will grow, right? If your boss is sitting like a frog in that place, and you will also become a frog in that place. Obviously, make your boss into a vice president if you want to become a president, or if you want to become into a higher post. That's the way to grow. That's a positive way of growing, right? Let your boss become something more than what he's doing. Automatically, that space will be available, and then you go and fill up that space, right? No organization, I'll tell you, my friends, wants people from outside. Nobody wants. Everybody wants to groom people from inside. Why? Because inside people know the culture of the company. The culture really matters, right? How we operate, how we gel, how we explain, how we articulate things, how we function as one team. This is very important information. See, every time an attrition happens, my dear friends, it's not about losing somebody with the technology, right? Every time an employee leaves us, the pain for the management is not that, it's difficult to find a guy with SAP skills. Come on, give me a break. We can find so many people with SAP skills. But what actually company loses is the employee who knows the culture of the company, how to operate, how to get things done. That is the biggest loss for the organization. And when you align with your boss very nicely, you create that strength in that company or that culture, right? And when you stay in a company for 10 years, 15 years, you are the most efficient person in that company because now you know how to get things done. Of course, you also see some people who are there for 10, 15 years who are dysfunctional, who become a fat for the organization, who become like an unnecessary, hanging fat, which they don't really deliver. They're just running around with relationships. That is also there. But I'll say that is only 10%. Remaining 90% of the people who actually stay with the organization for a long time are the people who are the greatest asset for the organization. And many organizations celebrate that, like I know when I was working once in Satyam, in those days, everybody who spent 10 years in Satyam was rewarded. Everybody who spent 15 years in Wipro was rewarded. Everybody who spent like 20 years in GE was rewarded. I worked in all these companies. So, and I was to see that employees who are working with the organization for a long time are rewarded. Why? Because they are more productive for the company over a period of time and they know the culture of the company and they can very well nicely deliver. Right. So it creates, so Pagu's example I wanted to give, and there can be many such Pagus in this group as well. There are, more than 50 of you attending. I don't know who the Pagu is there in this, in this 50, but you can be that Pagu. Then you can create a new line of business for your company. And why do you have to sit in those cubicles? One day you can get a cabin, right? And then you can actually lead a team. You can do that. You can scale up and you can do a lot of things. Instead of complaining, why am I not growing? Start thinking what you're doing, right? What you're doing for a company. Then automatically the growth will come. Then automatically everything will happen. But that will happen first thing before you serve the company, serve your boss. Your immediate boss in your current project should feel that you're a great asset. Yeah. Any comments before we go ahead? So any reflections on what you heard about Pagu? Would you want to have a Pagu like person sitting beside you?
In future, we might call opportunity is equal to Bagu is equal to opportunity.
We need to have something like that. In fact, Swati, I would say that we should have like employee of the month or employee of the quarter, something like that. And we should ask that person to speak what he did. Not just keep a photograph. Like in supermarkets, they keep, employee of the month, one fellow will be there. No, that's not the point. We should actually know what he did. Right? Then actually, it will motivate the whole floor. Because today, in today's day and time, there is a lot of negativity outside. We need to bring that positivity with examples, right? Then it's amazing. Anyway, so let's go forward with this presentation. 1 second. Yeah, I'll hide this. Yeah. Okay, so why to impress? I'm sure I have done enough to impress you all to tell you why to impress. Right now, let's get to the next part. 360-degree impression on my boss. How should I do that? 360-degree, meaning in all aspects, your boss likes you. How to make it happen? Number one, first impression. Don't spoil your first impression when you're working with anybody. First impression really matters, right? When you go into a project, that manager may have never worked with you, or when you join a job, you would have never worked with him, but your first impression really matters. Yeah, if you mess up your first impression, you have to work a lot to change that impression. But first impression has to be. What does it mean to say first impression? Let's understand what is there in that first impression, right? First impression includes be the first one to be in the office. Basic, isn't it? Be the first one to be in the office. Next. Anything else, guys, before I say? Dress to the job, right? I mean, properly look professional in the way you are. Take a lot of notes. When your boss is speaking, write notes. right? This is a very important thing. People just go and speak to your managers without even having a notebook. Like, no, that's not the way. Even if you're doing an IT project or a non-IT project, you should have proper notes, right? What else? How else can you do the first impression? Come on, guys. Can anybody
Proper
add?
greeting.
Huh?
Proper greeting.
Greeting, proper greeting, yes.
With soft skills, I
Willing to
mean,
learn, be proactive. Proactiveness. You need to have some, you should show that quality that I want to do more. I want to learn more. I want to take up new areas, right? Watch what is on your plate, right? I mean, uh, you should know what all work you have. It should be very clear. You should know your definition of work. Then it really impresses your boss. If your boss calls you and asks you, what are you doing? You're like, sir, you have given me this. I'm 50% here, 20% here, 10% here. And I think another 2 weeks I'll be done with this. Another 2 weeks I'll be done with this. This I'll finish by today evening. Is that a good report? It's a good report, right? Meaning what is on your plate, you should have clarity. And if your boss is saying, what are you doing? I'm working. No, I'm working. What is the problem? That is nonsense answer, isn't it? You should be able to tell, sir, I'm doing this, I'm doing this, I'm doing this, I'm 50% here, 10% here, I'll be done. Sir, can I do anything? Do you call me for anything more? That's a positive way of talking, right? A lot of people should know that's very much is needed, right? Next, imitate their style. Every boss has a style, right? Style doesn't mean, what he wears, right? Style doesn't mean, color that he wears. It's about the way he functions. Every boss has a style. Some bosses are like, get it, do it, finish it. Some bosses are like, you get a lot of things, you prioritize and you do only some. Some bosses are like, everybody has a style. So you need to know the style of your boss. How does he react to situations? You need to know that. And according to that, you should be ready. According to that. For example, what are the most important things for your boss? You should know that, right? And on those things, you should never compromise. On those things, there is no compromise, right? That's a skill to handle your boss, because every time he calls you, he'll ask about that only. So you want to make sure that those things you're ready to tell. You're automatically in good books. You don't have to do anything. See, like in a project organization, like if you're doing implementation project, of SAP anywhere, what do you think is the most important thing for your project manager? Let me ask this question to everybody here, right? You are in support projects and implementation projects. What do you think is the most important thing for a project manager in implementation project?
their subordinate support.
Of course, we are discussing about that. So what do you think is most important? What is the news? What is the news if he hears, he'll become sleepless?
Customer satisfaction, sir.
Yes, customer satisfaction. Yes. He will be most happy if a customer sends a report saying, wow, this was very well done. He is the most happy. Yes. But I'm asking the other way around. What is the thing that happens? He'll become sleepless. Do you all
And
know?
new queries are there, but we don't have much idea regarding that new queries.
Can you elaborate that a little?
I mean, client requirement is something more. They're expecting something new queries.
So there is a requirement gap. That's what you say, right?
Yes, sir.
Or there is an understanding gap, requirement to design gap. You say that, right?
Yeah,
Solution gap.
maybe they are expecting something more.
Yeah,
Clients are
so
expecting something more.
what you thought is not what they want. They want something more,
Yeah.
right? Yeah. So if that your project manager gets to know, he'll be in real panic. Why? Because that disturbs the whole schedule, isn't it?
Yes.
So there is a schedule to do the requirement analysis, then design, then development, then testing, and then implementation, right? So if there is a problem there, if there is a problem with the requirement, your project manager will be really, really tensed. So that's a good thing. Yeah. So what do you think as a subordinate you can do to impress your boss, to win over your boss? Knowing that this is what will give him sleepless nights. What do you think you can do? Think like a Pagu. Think like a Pagu now. I told about Pagu, right? So what would you do to impress your boss when you know that requirement is a problem?
To take initiative and do research and update to the boss, like what we can do.
Yes, very nice. Anybody
We
else?
can motivate the team to support boss.
Yes. No, let us go specific to this requirement issue. You know that if your boss gets to know that there is a requirement gap, he'll become sleepless. So how are you going to help him?
We'll go and discuss with him first of all what the requirement is there and can we able to clear it or not. We'll have a
Yeah.
positive discussion.
Yeah. See, I'll tell you one thing. What you can do, one of you, what you can do, you can link that requirement, all the requirements that the customer has given, to your solution, from solution to your technical design, from your technical design to test scripts, from your test scripts to user acceptance test scripts, and finally implementation plan. Isn't it? When you link all these things and you go and show it to your boss that, hey, all these things are linked. I think customer is very much expecting this. Will he feel confidence or no?
Yes, he will feel
Yes.
confident.
Right? So see, how we impress our boss is by understanding what bothers him, and then by giving a solution, that will make him happy. Right? That'll give him confidence. Right? I mean, these are basic things. There can be so many things you can discuss in project way, but I'm just telling you, like, I don't know, I forgot what they used to tell this, like mapping a requirement all the way to implementation cutout plan, right? Everything, requirement to functional design to technical design to test scripts.
Traceability matrix.
Traceability matrix. Thank you, Pawan. Thank you. Traceability matrix, right? So how many of you are making the traceability matrix in your projects? How many of you are taking time to make that? Because that sometimes that is not a separate deliverable. Sometimes for business, the deliverable is business design, solution design, functional design. For techie guys, the design, the technical design is the deliverable. But traceability matrix all the way from requirement to the cutover plan. How many of you are making it in your projects? If you make that, if one of you take the initiative of making that, don't you think you'll impress your boss? And how much more effort you have to get a promotion? You will easily get a promotion because you have what you have done by making that, or helping by everybody's, by doing that initiative of making the traceability matrix. What you have done, you have created so much confidence in your boss, and he will have a good sleep. Because you know what? I think we are covered. We have done everything. Whatever the customer wanted, we're going to deliver. Is that true? That's called first impression. These are the things, initiatives, right? Simple things. If you just think that, hey, my job is only to do technical design, my job is only to do functional design, baad mein gaya requirement, I don't care what happens to the customer, or anyway it will get implemented, why I have to bother about all these things? Then you're not going to do something that really help your boss, right? Are you all following what we're discussing?
Yes. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah. Don't think I'm saying more work. I'm saying relationships, right? When you do something like that, your relationship with your boss becomes very intimate. It becomes very confidence driven, right? So imitate their style, always be on schedule. Yes. And workstation filled with checklists. See, when somebody comes and when your boss comes and gives you a task, yes, sir, I'll be done. No, take this little thing. Naga has a lot of stationery. Take this bunch of it, right? Every time your boss comes and says something, write it down and stick it. Tap like this, just stick it, right, on your thing. And by the time you go home, pull it out, tick it, put it in the trash, right? Tracing what you have to do is very good. I've seen Westerners doing it. Westerners, the sticky thing actually comes from the West. I used to go to one of the managers. I forgot his manager. I think his name was Paul Karen. Yeah, no, it was not Paul. It was one more guy. So you know what? The amazing thing that I used to like, his room used to be filled with the stickies. Like literally, you feel like the whole room filled with stickies everywhere. And and throughout the day, he would add more, and by evening, you'll pull them off and put them in the trash. Right? Just to make sure. See, one message that you convey when you write it down is you are serious about the other person's needs. So whenever I used to go to this person, I used to tell, hey, I need this. He will say, wait a second, Lakshman, 1 minute. He'll take that, he'll write the sticky and he'll paste it like this. The water bottle, he'll paste it like this. So here is your requirement, right? I'll make sure that I'll deliver it. So writing down notes and making sure you have all the checklists with you makes a lot of difference. Checklist, right? You should have your own checklist. Next, instilling confidence. How do you instill confidence in your boss? By focusing on your job. Stay positive always. These are positive statements. I'm just repeating. You all know this, but sometimes it's good to discuss it. Highlight your contribution. It's very important that you highlight how you have made a difference to the project. Don't sit there and say, I'm part of the project team. I've just done what was told to me. I think I'm done. So give me an increment now. I want 30% increment, 40% increment. Come on, what did you do? What is that extra thing that you did, which really helped the whole team, right? I mean, if you want to grow high, you also have to do more things, right? You also have to do more things. You just can't go high and sit there and say that, I am now in a big post. You'll be in a lot of anxiety, right? You should highlight your contribution. Give credit to others. Most important thing. See, when one person in your team can work with everybody and appreciates everybody and has a great relationship with everybody, he's a great asset to the team, isn't it? So you should give credit to others. You can go and tell, sir, do you know he did it? Today morning I gave the functional design. By night that fellow finished the technical design, and by next day morning he's giving me the code also. He's very fast, sir. That guy is very fast. By doing that, he might get a promotion, but you also will get a promotion because of your attitude. You following what I'm saying? These days, people are not doing it. They're more bothered about their own recognition. But when you create an environment where you are recognizing others, right? Your boss will really be impressed. Hey, this person is not only thinking about himself, he's thinking about. So that's the quality of a manager. So you will become a manager one day. Manager doesn't mean dictating things. Manager means appreciating what people are doing. I'll tell you one thing. I fight for my team. I fight with my team and I fight for my team also. Right? That should be the greatest attitude of you. You should have that attitude. I'll fight for my team. When something wrong happens, I'll stand as part of my team. I'll defend my team. But to do the right thing, I'll fight with my team also. Meaning to do this has to happen. I'll fight with my team. I'll make sure it happens. Right? Instilling confidence. Next, seek solutions to problems. Right? Whenever there is a problem, you want to go and find a solution. That creates a confidence. Turn down non-relevant work, which is not relevant work. Just keep it aside. That instills confidence in your boss. This fellow is very serious. Relationship building, of course. Schedule periodic one-on-one reviews. You can have more talks with your manager, not only during appraisal time, normal time also. How many of you have gone and asked your boss? How many of you have gone and asked your boss, sir, am I functioning as per your expectation? Or do you think I need to improve? Or, is it okay for what I've done right now? Or do you want anything different? How much vocal are we to our boss that we want to do more? How much? That creates a relationship when we do that, right? So make your boss's priorities as yours. See, often a time we say that, it's my priority. That is not my priority. You know what? The biggest priority is your boss's priority. Your boss's priority is the biggest priority. Understand that. You might have 10 things to do, but if your boss needs something, keep all that aside, first do it. Why? Because your boss is not only thinking about you, he's thinking about all of you in the team. He's trying to save the boat. Right? So, if there is, say, for example, there is a boat in which everybody is doing something. Somebody is taking care of the, the what do you call that? The flag, the big cloth which moves with the wind. Somebody's taking care of that. Somebody's taking care of the steering. Somebody's taking care of the pantry. Somebody's taking care. So many things are happening in this big boat where passengers are there. But the captain of the ship says, everybody come to the front. And you're all like, what? I'm doing what I'm doing. I don't know why is he shouting. But your captain is shouting because there is a sudden big dent in the boat. and the water is coming in, that has to be stopped. You can't tell them, okay, dent, somebody else will take care, I will take care of the flag, I will take care of the pantry, I will take care of the steering wheel. No, your boss knows what is the priority. If you all don't go and fill the dent, the boat is gone. The boat is gone. What will you do after that? Right? So boss's priority is your priority. Understand that always, right? Next, show interest in activities your boss is passionate about. If your boss is passionate about doing something, you should also align to that activity. You can implement this if you really introspect. Listen to what boss has to say. 2 years, one mouth and 2 years. God has given one mouth, 2 years. Use 2 years more than your one mouth. Listen. Sometimes don't listen with a judgmental attitude. A lot of times we listen to answer. We only listen to answer. You're telling, so I'll answer. You're telling, no. Sometimes just listen. Shut your mouth and listen. That makes a lot of difference. Show gratitude and reciprocation. Thank you for making me part of this project. Thank you for helping me, being part of such a successful project. Have that gratitude to say. Next, securing recognition, right? Get all out to get things done. That creates recognition, meaning I've given this task to this person, right? For example, I give a task to a person saying that do this. The person comes and, sir, website pandeyatles, sir. I know website is not working. That is the reason I told you. Sir, I don't know what to do, sir, now. What is the use of telling you now? Right? What is the use of telling you? If I have given a task to you, means figure it out. I want the solution. Don't come and tell me all the problems. Right? This problem, I already know that the problem. That is the reason I gave the work to you. Right? The manager is giving a work to you means he wants you to do it end to end. Come back with the solution, or come back and tell this is what we need to do to get it done. You all following me? So get all things done. Go all out and doing things that will secure your recognition. You'll be recognized. Contribute to the big picture. How am I helping the company grow in numbers? Say, for example, tell me how many employees are there in the company right now? Guesstimate. How many of you know?
135 approx.
Okay, 135. Okay. So how many of us are in finance, in this finance function?
4 or 5.
4. 4 to be precise, including me. How many are there in say sales function?
5 to 7.
Okay, I'd like to hear more different answer. Asta is telling 5 to 7. I know Pawan knows the answer. He heads the whole everything for the company. But how many are there in the sales?
Near about 20.
I'll tell you, the day we all feel that we all are part of sales, the company will grow. I'll tell you why. Who are the people who interact with customer all the time? Delivery team, right? You are the people who interact with that customer team. Who can get more business from that customer? When everybody in the company feels we are part and parcel to grow this company, then company will succeed. We can't tell that, no, oh, this is finance team, that is sales team. Sales person will do sales. Why do I care? I am a delivery person. I'm a delivery person, So that itself makes the whole problem. Or a salesperson feels that, I have done the sale, let the delivery figure out what they have to do. We are missing the boat. We are missing the whole objective. We are missing the bigger picture of the company. Right? That's very important. And if somebody asks you, how many people are there in Lorhan as part of sales? What should answer be? 130 salesmen are there. Because if I go and see an opportunity in my friend's company for SAP or for any of the technologies, I will immediately come and tell Satya or Pawan or anybody saying that, hey, let's find, there seems to be opportunity there. Why don't we grab it? So we all have to do the sales. Don't think that you're part of an organization and you don't do sales. Right? Or if you see a good solution, you go and tell the delivery team. Say, yeah, this is what they're doing. So why don't we also do that? Right? This is called teamwork. This is called impressing a boss. Right? Not just doing in your own area and think that, I've done my part. No, that's not what is really impressive. Are you all with me? Did you all understand?
Yes.
Yes, we do belong to
Yes.
organization. We do sales, we do delivery, but that's not the way we have to look at things, right? Contribute to the biggest picture. That will create recognition, right? When are you recognized? When you contribute to the bigger picture. Be resourceful by engaging all your skills in all areas, right? Before reacting, see the impact on the bigger picture. For example, I'm reacting to a situation, how much this will affect my company. Very, very important, right? We have to look at that. And be a leader by practicing what you preach. Most important thing, of course, practicing what you preach. You have to do what you're saying. If you just keep saying it, people will not be impressed. Like so many WhatsApp messages we get, so many positive messages we get every day. How many of you implement it? Barely implemented. Why do you think you don't implement? Because you don't see anybody implementing it, right? That is the problem. It's not that you don't accept those messages. You accept all those messages, but you never implement it because you don't see anybody implementing it. So in the same way, you want to be a leader on the floor. It's not about just giving a good talk, like including me. If I'm just giving a good talk, that's not good enough. I have to show it in my actions. I have to show it with my acts. I have to show it on the floor. People have to know, yes, there is somebody who's doing it. I'll also be like him. And finally, trust building. Most important thing, trust. Plan to grow with the boss. Tell your boss that, sir, I want to contribute for your growth, and tell me how can I help. Very blunt question. You can ask your boss. I want to do something for you, or I will, or you don't have to tell him. You can actually do some things which will help him grow. Right? Demonstrate a long-term interest in the organization. Never be in the mode that I'll leave this organization whenever I want. I think there is everybody available outside. I'll leave. That leaving attitude itself is a killer. Tell me how many marriages will last. How many marriages will last if the partners think in the beginning itself that what, I get a better one, I'll anyway leave. How many marriages will last? No marriage will last. The other day, I'll tell you a joke. Okay, one of my friends, he lives in a big apartment here. So I went to his house, and his wife was telling that the apartment beside is a live-in relationship. A boy and a girl are living together. They're not married. Unfortunately or fortunately, I don't want to comment on that, but now it is even coming into our country. We can see that happening now. So my boss's wife was standing in the balcony, and that you can say that boy and girl came out, and they were just chatting, and she told my boss's wife, my friend's wife, who are like married for 25 years, 25 plus years they're married. And so this girl was speaking to my boss, my friend's wife, and she told that we are living together for last 4 years, like that she told. And what was my friend's wife answer? She said, we are living for last 25 years together. We are, my parents lived with each other for 50 years, and me and my husband are, we are living together for 25 years, like that. And that lady was shocked, because she was trying to make a statement that it's cool to live together. And what my friend's wife told is that is anyway part of a marriage. That is anyway part of, what is the big deal about it, right? We are living together for 25 years, right? I mean, I'm living with my wife for, I'm just sharing 19 years now, right? So great, right? 19 years we're living together. Of course, we are married also. You know what I'm saying? So anyway, the way you look at things, right? They think that that's a great thing to say to people that we are living together. We are not saying it. We're just married, right? But what is the problem? Problem is we don't want to commit. We don't want to commit. Because if commits, the Ravanas and Hiranyakashipus will come out. That is the problem, right? If you want to commit, suddenly marriage aipote, oh, a problem. But if we live together, we can go anywhere. Tell me one thing. Can you, which relationship is stronger, living relationship or marriage relationship?
Marriage only, sir, obviously.
Right? Isn't it?
Of course.
So if I have my team members, and all the team members are like, I leave this company whenever I want. Do you want to promote such fellow? Which relationship is stronger? When that person comes to me and tells, sir, will together grow this company. Now we are 130 people, 140 people. Sir, we will work hard, we will support, and we'll make sure the company becomes 500. Don't you think I want to promote that fellow every time I get an opportunity? It's as good as living in and marriage. Try to marry your company, at least for some time. Is my, that is how you create that positivity in the company. That is how you create that positivity with your boss. Who wants flickering, floating employees? Nobody wants. Everybody wants recurring and employees who last for a long time. And they are the people who really impress a boss. They are the people who last as an impression on the boss, right? So we have to create that impression of longevity. Are you all following what I'm saying? Demonstrate a long-term interest in your organization. Means marry to the goals of your organization. And do your best. Why do you have to keep switching here and there? Be responsible. Admit your mistake. Admit your mistake. If you've done a mistake, admit it. And that creates trust. And follow in their footsteps, right? Whatever your boss has done, how he has become successful, you can also become successful by following in their footsteps. You can ask. Speak up and avoid communication gaps. Most important thing. I'll tell me, whom do you trust more? An employee who talks more or an employee who doesn't talk at all?
Not both.
Not both.
Not both, right? But at least that fellow should talk. Is it
Yes.
better? Isn't it?
Yes.
If the fellow is not talking only, then it's a big problem. They're like, did you understand the requirement?
Yes.
Have you finished the work? Is the customer happy?
No.
పని అయిపోయిందా? రేపు వస్తున్నావా? Are you coming tomorrow? No, sir, I've resigned, sir. I'm going because I messed up the project. Right? So, do you want such kind of people on your team?
No.
చెప్పురా బాబు, భగవంతుడు నోరిచ్చాడు, నాలుకిచ్చాడు, 36 పనులు ఇచ్చాడు. Use your tongue to express what you have done. Right? So speak up. Communication, very important with your boss. Speak up. Tell, sir, I'm not finding this project, very exciting. How can we make this exciting? Don't go and tell, sir, I'm not finding it exciting. I want a different project. No. In that same project, you can create a lot of excitement. You can do something more for the customer. You can do something that will help the whole company from that project, right? Even a support project can do a lot of things. Don't think that support is boring, implementation is interesting. No, support is shared services model again, right? We also have a shared services model here. You can do a lot of things in that. You can do what Pagu has done. You can create amazing metrics which can be used and published in our sales pitches to many other customers. That this is how we do our work, isn't it? Okay. So you can impress your boss in many ways is what I'm trying to tell. Okay, let's go. So be the first to be recognized. FIRST, first denotes first impression, instilling confidence, relationship building, securing recognition, trust building. So I've just created an acronym for all of you. How do you say you're first in your team when you're doing all these 5 things, right? Swati, if you want, you can actually make a poster of it and keep it somewhere. Be the first, right? So all these things, people see on the board that, am I doing these things? Am I instilling confidence? Am I relationship building? Am I doing it, right? So these positive things should be seen. So somebody is saying, I'm the first. So are you doing all these things to say that you are the first, right? Let's go. So 5 times you need to bite your tongue. Okay, we are almost done with our presentation, but I'm going to ask, when do you think you should shut your mouth even when you're right? Even when you're right, when do you think you should just shut your mouth and accept it?
When other people are more angry.
Yes, that's a good one.
When the other person is not ready to accept what you do.
Yes.
And the things are getting more complicated with your answers.
That's a very good one, Devi Prasad. Yes, when your answer is actually complicating things more. Sometimes you're right. But it might lead to more complications. Just keep it calm. You can tell that later. You can just keep it calm. Yes. Anybody else? When do you think you should bite your tongue? I will not speak. I will not speak. Your answers are right. Okay, so let's go ahead. Very simple. You already answered few of them, so I'm just going to add. So make sure you're heard at work. Good thing, right? So 5 things. When emotions are running high, right? When everybody is in a lot of tension, your boss is in his tension, he's going through something. That's not a time to argue. That's not a time to too much press on some things. Just leave it there. Whatever he says, just listen and go. I'm telling you, this is how you impress your boss. A boss also knows that you're doing it, so you can do that, right? So when emotions are running high, just calm down. Next, when your boss's decision is final, right? When he comes in, it's my final decision. Once he says that, don't get into argument. You can do that 2 days later, but not then. That is not the right time. If your boss says, you know what, this is what I wanted, you don't tell me all the reasons. This is what I wanted. Do it. Don't get into argument then, right? Or even if you want to suggest something, suggest it maybe in the evening or next day. Emotions are running high. Boss's decision is final. When you don't have anything productive to offer, sometimes when you don't have anything better to answer, just shut your mouth. That's the best thing to do, right? You don't know the subject that well. You don't know the situation that well. Just calm down. Just settle the matter there, right? Next, when you feel tempted to offer excuses, offering excuse is really bad. When something has gone wrong, take responsibility. Offering excuse. When you are thinking I should give excuses, better shut your mouth. Don't get into that mode, right? Just bite your tongue and don't give any excuses. Your boss says you have not done it right. Okay, sir, I've not done it right. Just keep it there, right? Instead of saying, sir, because I actually took leave that day, and that day you did not come to office, so I could not send you a mail. I sent a mail, but you did not answer. Those all answers are there. I know there are answers, but that can be told later also. So don't give too many excuses. Your boss will know sooner or later. He will know, right? That you were right, and there are different ways of showing it. You can go back to your place and forward the email. There you can tell that yes, sir. Then you can go to your place, forward the email where he'll know that actually you did it, but it is his mistake that he didn't see it. Then he will come back and tell you, I'm sorry for shouting at you because I didn't know. Finally, when the conversation turns into gossip, don't get into that, right? Um, what good would gossip do to any company? Not. So shut your mouth. When you don't know what to speak and you don't know whether you're speaking what is right or wrong, then better shut your mouth. Don't let that go outside your, 4 sides of your cubicle. So keep things on a low tone. When you don't know full information, it's as good as no information. I don't think I have some information so I can spread it. Some information can spread a lot of danger. You know the word okay? There is a word okay, right? We say, is the work over? Are you okay? What does it mean? Where did the word okay originate from? Anybody?
It's the word called objection killed.
Huh?
Objection is killed.
Objects?
Objection killed, I think, is the full form of the
0 people killed. Okay means 0 killed. It originated in a world war, right? When somebody says okay means 0 people killed here, this side, right? And sometimes when they say, you don't have to tell a big sentence. Okay means we are okay. Nobody, 0 people killed. And in the war time, when they have to stop shooting, right? They used to say, shooting, stop it now. That is not the right word. Stop should come first, then shooting should come. If you say shooting, don't do, before you speak, don't do, they'll start shooting only. You know what I'm saying? So start with saying stop shooting. So that stop should come loud and clear before that. Right? In the same way, we should know what to project. Complete message should be there. Your message should be complete and it should be in the proper way, so the opposite person doesn't misunderstand. Right? So that's very important. So conversation shouldn't become a gossip. Now, types of bosses, I'll leave this slide, I will just leave it in the internet. You can go through. There are bosses who are like robots, right? Who just want everything done. And there is answer. How do you do? What do you do? I'll tell one, like a robot boss, his desk is empty. No family pictures, nothing. He's like a robot. I don't know if you've seen. Have you seen any robot boss here? You don't have to tell the name.
No.
No. Okay, good. So we don't have robot bosses here. So they don't have a family picture. They don't have anything around there. Work, 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 all business all the time. How do you impress that boss? On the upside, such boss can teach you discipline. Co-workers are probably frustrated as you are. What you can do, you can go and tell some jokes to that fellow sometimes. Sir, can I share a joke? Sir, can I share something humorous? So you can slowly impress the boss, when he is a robot, by being a little humorous, right? So there are means and ways to manage everybody, right? So robotic boss. So there are many bosses like that. I will leave this slide in the, when I upload, you can see there are softy bosses, and there are whistle bosses who are always looking out for mistakes. There are mystery bosses, there are viper bosses, there are miracle bosses who believe in miracles, right? And same way there are buddy bosses who are like playful and buddy. You might find some on the floor like that. Or there are monster bosses. I'm sure this picture looks familiar if you have such boss. And there are number crunchers who like metrics, who like, so how do you deal with them? And there are innovator bosses who like innovations. How do you deal with them? And there are patronizer bosses. They're like, they very difficult again, degree, and they just don't want to have confidence in you. So there are different kinds of bosses, right? So how do you impress a Western boss? Just simple. This is a survey done. Western bosses expect you to get early wins. Western bosses expect you to bring one good idea. Now, all these are great, successful entrepreneurs. They are telling, what do I expect from my subordinate? What do I expect from my subordinate? These are the things they expect, right? Get one good idea, or get to know people. They like people who are knowing everybody on the floor. Put in extra hours, put some hard work, make jokes. Some bosses just want humorous people. They just want humorous people on the floor. Express, curiosity for what you're doing, right? Understand the vision of the company. If they see that, they'll be impressed with you. Be a sponge, take things and give it out to others, right? I mean, don't just keep everything to you. Give it out to others, whether it's solutions, everything. Remember everyone's name in the team, very important. Research at home. You do a lot of work, but you also come back with some good ideas from home. Understand everyone's roles. You understand who is who on the floor. You don't go and ask somebody wrong about something, right? Or ask a lot of questions. You know the joke of a new employee calling from the canteen. It's an old joke, but I don't know if you know. I'll tell the joke. So there is this new guy who joined this big company, and he wanted to know where to buy some snacks, So he went to the canteen, and he couldn't find the counter where to buy snacks. So he dialed a number, right? There was a list of numbers there. So he dialed a number. By mistake, instead of dialing 1999, he dialed 9999, something like that. And where did the phone go? It went to the CEO of the company. Unfortunately, that's the extension of CEO of the company. CEO of the company. And this fellow says, where to buy snacks? I don't know where this company, they don't even keep snacks at a proper place. But CEO was like, who is that nonsense fellow who is dialing me? So this fellow asks, so you don't know who is calling you, right? He says, no, I don't know. So then it's okay. They kept the phone down. Simple, right? I mean, you did a mistake, but you could easily cover it up, as long as he doesn't know who you are. Yeah. So understand everyone's role. Know whom you're calling for what is what the point was, right? So ask a lot of questions. Bosses like when you ask questions, when you want to learn something new. Have energy. Show that energy. Walk fast. Don't walk leniently like this. Walk fast. Speak nicely. Go around, right? And interact with others. Interact with others on the floor. Yes, no doubt. And organize and prioritize work. When you organize and prioritize work, every boss likes you. Okay. So guys, these talents are not there in your curriculum. I'm sorry, whether you're from BITS Pilani or wherever you are from, or IIT, these talents you have to grow. You have to grow by corporate skills, right? So the many seminars, like I said, there are so many seminars that are coming your way every Friday. If you attend these seminars, you grow on the skills. You can actually impress your bosses, right? So right now, where is the seminar that we are right now? If you can remember, where is the seminar? I think we are in, where are we? in the cross-cultural preparedness, right? Essentials to impress a Western boss. That is where it was. Yeah. So there are many seminars. You have to give the time on a Friday, every Friday, and learn out of it. So conclusion, very simple, work runs. I don't want to lead the whole laundry list. I think I already covered most of this. You can make your boss happy, but the most important thing is, like, your boss wants to be impressed by you. Don't change bosses, change your attitude towards bosses, right? So so it's not about, okay, I go to some other company, I'll find a good boss. No, wherever you are, change your attitude towards your boss and get equipped with knowledge with 360-degree confidence to succeed in all work environment. Meaning, improve your corporate skills, improve your personality skills, improve your spiritual foundation, your strength in yourself, right? Confidence building. Then you can work in any environment. Then ultimately you can do any environment. Okay. So any reflections, questions, answers, now we can take. I'll keep the floor open for a couple of minutes. Or since Pawan has joined, Pawan, if you want to add anything for what we have discussed or any reflections, please.
No, this is all good information, Lakshman. Thank you for putting up all these slides and a lot of hard work here. One thing I wanted to mention is even bosses, I wouldn't use the word boss, even the leaders or managers, you have to impress your team, guys. It is not one way. So the onus is also on the boss, manager, leaders to impress your team, because they are part of your family and you cannot win without them. So please make sure you respect their time, you respect the hard work they do for the organization and for you. So it's vice versa is the first statement that Lakshman made. So I just wanted to reiterate that. It is not always employee to boss, manager, leader. It is also towards leader, manager, boss, and employee, basically. So that's, thank you so much, Lakshman. It's a lot of information.
Thank you, Pawan. These presentations are kind of unique, Pawan. You know, we have gone through it, so we share our experience. It was more. So you can also share any good experience you have with a subordinate or with a boss that you work. You know,
yeah, a lot of times people think, oh, my manager is biased to somebody. My manager likes him or her more than me. I will tell you honestly, guys, no manager will like somebody who doesn't achieve results. The whole purpose of the manager is to make sure they do good for the company. Who do your managers like? Your managers like somebody who works hard, who is efficient. Not if you get a candy to your manager every day, he'll not like you because he can buy candies. Your manager will like you because you're absolutely right on your part. You're adding value to your group. You're adding value to yourself. You're adding value to the organization. So if you consistently do it, your manager will like you. So how to impress your manager is to make sure you do the right thing, and he will absolutely like you because his single point of agenda or motive is to make sure the organization goes, basically.
Yes.
So that's the only way you have to impress your manager. Do the right thing for the company, do the right thing for the group, do the right thing for yourself. 3 mantras, basically. So that's my learning, Lakshman. So for whatever I have done, so I have seen people, see, I commonly hear, oh, uske upar thoda impression hai, mere upar nahi hai. You will have the impression as long as you do right for yourself, your group and the team, basically. Ek candy ya ek fruit leke aaye to, there is no impression there because your manager can get that easily.
Yeah, that's pretty blunt and clear on it.
yeah, and candy can be anything, fruit can be anything. They can be anything, they can be friendship, they can be anything, but absolutely your manager here to make sure the organization win. And the only way he'll be impressed with you because you are 100% devoted to yourself, your group and your company, basically. That's, I just wanted to reiterate that.
Yes, Pawan. And I wanted to get your reflection. What did you feel about the 130 member sales team?
That is absolutely right. So sales or business development, right? It is more towards everybody sharing the organization. If you have 130 people in the organization, if we have 130, you go and get 130 leads, and out of that 20 get converted into business. We don't have to do anything, guys. That's it, period. All we need are 20 projects for a calendar year that can get probably a 15 million or 20 million, which will expand our farm on that. So every one of you will need to have 5 to 10% of your time devoted to sales. And when I say sales, it is business development, basically.
Yeah.
I stick to few words. I don't call it sales. I call it business development. I don't call it boss. I call it leader or a manager, because there's a duty, there's a role that we do, basically. So absolutely, like, it's a beautiful point. I always stress that point, and thank you for stressing it. So 130 leads are generated by 5% of your time or 2% of your time. That is what success comes through. It is every integral, it's your integral part, basically, to make sure you put at least 2%, 3% in cross-selling your own company, in cross-selling your own work that you do, basically. And it can be in many ways. A delivery can cross-sell saying, I have done a right thing. Sir, is there any other additional work for me? Doing the right things from delivery is cross-selling. When you talk to your friend, hey, my company encourages us to find if there is a business development. You talk to your friend in the weekend. You don't have to invest anywhere. All you can say, hey, these are my capabilities. And you never know how work comes, basically. So with a word of mouth, sitting here, we can load multiple clients, basically.
Yeah.
Yeah, thanks, Lakshman.
Thank you. Thank you. And Sachin wants to share something. Sachin, would you want to just say it? I know you're typing.
Yes, sir. There is one big dairy in Maharashtra. Its name is Gokul.
Can you on your screen? Is that okay? So that
Sachin, if you
can
tell the name, everybody will go to that company, right? You have to secretly send an email to me where I can follow up, correct?
No, sir. Recently you said that, no? Share some leads.
Send an email, because now you said Gokul. Everybody knows there's a work at Google, right? Gokul, right? Send an email, Sachin. Thank you.
Yeah. This is the biggest dairy from Maharashtra. So they are using local ERP right now. So we can approach there and we can convert it in our
Definitely.
business.
I think my soldier is there, Harbans Asta, who is there on the call?
Yes, Pavan, me.
Yeah, get connected with Sachin and make it happen, Asta.
Sure.
Thank you, Sachin.
Yes. Yeah, how many of you know? How many of you know Harbans? At least I don't know. Can you come on the screen? We know that you are there somewhere in Maharashtra.
Harbans, you in a position to come onto the screen?
Yeah,
or?
if you're comfortable. Maybe we lost her. I don't know.
No, I think she's going into her conference room. She has a kid who's all over the place. So probably she has to tie her and then come back.
I mean, I have not actually, met her also. So nice to hear the voice,
Yeah, and she has a trip coming up to Dubai on her daughter's 5th birthday.
Oh, great.
No, I think you're talking about Harbans. This is me, Asta.
No, he's talking about Asta only.
Yeah, he asked about Harbans.
No, he's talking about Asta only. Yeah. Asta, can you switch on your video?
Yeah, definitely. I thought you were talking about Harbans. Yes.
No, you only. I told her to adopt me because she's going to Dubai for her kid's 5th birthday, and my mom never took me to Dubai so far. Go ahead, Asta. Yeah.
So
Asta, go ahead and then introduce in 2 sentences what you do.
How many of you know Asta? I see her sometimes on this call, but how many of you know her in the company and what she does? You can tell Asta.
Yes. So this is Asta. I am doing SAP inside sales works, Australia, and sometimes international and domestic. I've been part of Lorant since December 2020. And I'm work with Naveen sir and Pavan sir. So my total experience is all over on SAP. It's quite 4 to 5 years, completely for inside sales.
So are you in Hyderabad or where do you?
I'm in Pune.
Okay. Nice. Thank you for introducing yourself. So many of you know who you are today, if they don't know yet. Because again, as I said, sales team is different, this team is different, that team is different. Sometimes we don't get to know each other. So at least on this training platform, when we interact more and more, I hope when it happens in person trainings, we'll actually get to know each other more. Yeah, and that's also a great way to impress your boss, is that you're known to everyone.
Right, sir.
Yeah. Thank you, and thank you all for joining. I don't know, steal your rest of your day. I think you have a plan for the rest of the week and the weekend also. So today is Friday evening. Americans became so desperate for enjoying on Friday that they opened a cafe called Thank God It's Friday, right? So I'm sure we all have our plans for Saturday and Sunday. And Dasera festival is coming, so many of you can plan to go to your hometowns and and spend good time with your family, and also share what special, how Dasera was special for all of you, so everyone feels as part of one family. So thank you very much for giving your time.
A robotic boss will open TGIM. Thank God it's Monday.
Thank God it's Monday. Oh boy. No, and a sadistic boss will open TGIW. Thank God it's weekend to torture.
Weekend to torture.
Give task on a weekend. Oh
Yeah.
boy. Come on, guys, open your mics at least and laugh, when we're cracking some jokes. It feels so impersonal. Okay. Thank you all. Have a nice weekend ahead.
Yeah.
Take care.
Bye-bye. Thanks, guys.
Bye.
Thank you, guys.
sir.
Thanks,
Same
team.
to you.
Thank you.